Hey everybody, welcome back to the Trudy Bro Show. Back at it again with another book review. I am hanging out in the studio with all the animals. So you might hear and see some animals coming in and out of here, which is great. We are definitely glad that they're joining us today. But they might be moving some stuff around and I might have to edit accordingly. So if you see that, that's what's going on here because they do not want to be left alone right now, right? So there goes Leo. All right, you guys. So what we're doing today, there is a very special book that we're going to be featuring today on the review show. So I might have hinted at it in one of the episodes before that at some point I'm going to bring the guys in and we're going to do The Godfather by Mario Puzo, that book and movie. And we're going to do a big episode, maybe two-parter if we can make that work. But one of the little known things about that book is there is a spin-off novel. It's called The Sicilian by Mario Puzo, the same author that did The Godfather. And what happens here is it takes place in Sicily after Michael leaves after the murder of McCluskey and the Turk. So after that meeting, and Michael kills those guys, he has to hide out in Sicily. So this is a spin-off novel of some of the events that take place while he's there that are not mentioned in the Godfather novel. All right, I think I'm going to let Leo out because he's over there scratching. So just give me 1 second. All right, sorry about that. So it is a pretty fun novel. I kind of knocked it out pretty fast. I've been kind of going at it at nighttime before bed, maybe reading before my shift at work, whatever the case might be, how I kind of normally do. And I knocked it out pretty quick. I don't think Jeremy knows that what I'm trying to do is knock out some of the Godfather spin-off novels while he's reading the original Mario Puzo Godfather novels. So I thought that would be a fun thing for us to kind of explore here while he's working on that. I think Art's just going to do the movie, but Jeremy rented the book from the library and is knocking it out as we speak. So I thought I would try to marathon a bunch of these side novels and try to knock them out before we do the actual Godfather podcast, just as like a little race for myself, I guess. So about the book, I really enjoyed it, but I have some caveats to it as well, and we'll get to that. But overall, I think this is a fantastic novel, you guys. I had a really good time with this novel. It kind of is written like I actually have a little checklist right here. It's written as a historical fiction. So something that I was kind of shocked to find out going through this was that there was going to be a lot of things going on with the history, right? So all the stuff that was going on post World War II in Italy and Sicily, there's political turmoil, some pretty serious stuff going on with the political climate at the time. As you might know, it's very conservative Catholic over there. And that plays a big part in the Godfather series as a whole, but just Italians as it is, right? Obviously, they have the Vatican over there, right? So it is really fun. And I found that to be probably my favorite thing about this novel was it feels breathing. It feels like it's really real. It feels like a real world. And the main character, and I'll get to that in a second, really feels like he's a part of that, right? So I thought that was super cool. The next thing on the list here is it's a Godfather spinoff. I mentioned that before. So that's one of the draws to this. Well, it's a draw, and it may not be, and I'll get to that in a little bit also. But it was kind of what made me read it in the first place. So that's a good thing, right? So Michael Corleone's there. He does pop up a few times, but his role in this is pretty minuscule. He has a big part to play in terms of the plot, but his appearances in the novel are pretty small. So this is a big crime and mafia book, and if you like The Godfather and you like that aspect of that story, then this will still work for you. There's romance in here. It does feel pretty realistic. There's some problematic stuff that happens a little bit later in the book, but the original kind of love interest of our protagonist, Salvatore, I really like that, what was going on there with his love story. So family is a big part, and this comes up in the Godfather novel also, but in this one, I almost got to feel that Salvatore, our protagonist, really, I mean, this guy will do anything for his family. Anything. He'll go as far as it takes to protect his family, and I really enjoyed that. Um I thought it was the most fascinating part of this character. I mean, the fun stuff, the banditry and that stuff aside, the fact that he really went tooth and nail for his family was super cool. I really like that. So if you like that sort of family aspect of The Godfather, also that's also in here. There's, without spoiling it, it's a crime novel, so this is gonna happen. I have yet to see a crime novel where this didn't happen, but there's a pretty substantial betrayal, and this character, Salvatore, is based off of a real person. I didn't know that going in. I kind of found out about it later that, oh, wow, this is, he sort of took this character from history and kind of made a fan fiction kind of about it and integrated Michael Corleone in there too. So I thought that was kind of cool. If you know the history, the betrayal isn't going to shock you. If you don't know the history, then when it happens, you're like, holy shit. Hey guys, I just wanted to cut in right here. The animals made me get up and re-edit and reset over and over a few times here, so I thought this is a good opportunity to come in and read a little excerpt from the book itself. So sorry for the digression, but I thought this would showcase the writing style of Mario Puzo a lot. And one of the things about his writing style is I mentioned earlier, it makes it really feel like it's a living, breathing world. So I'm going to jump in and just read a little bit out of the book, and hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Palermo rested in the bottom of a bowl created by an extinct volcano, overwhelmed by mountains on 3 sides and escaping into the dazzling blue of the Mediterranean Sea on the 4th side. The city shimmered in the golden rays of the Sicilian noontime sun. Veins of red light struck the earth, as if reflecting the blood shed on the soil of Sicily for countless centuries. The gold rays bathed stately marble columns of Greek temples, spidery Muslim turrets, the fiercely intricate facades of Spanish cathedrals. On a far hillside frowned the battlements of an ancient Norman castle, all left by diverse and cruel armies that had ruled Sicily since before Christ was born. Beyond the castle walls, cone-shaped mountains held the slightly effeminate city of Palermo in a strangler's embrace, as if both were sinking gracefully to their knees, a cord pulling tightly around the city's neck. Far above, countless tiny red hawks darted across the brilliant blue sky. All right, so the basic plot of this story, and I'm going to keep it short as far as this goes, because again, the twists and turns are really fun, and I think you should see them for yourself. So basically, again, I mentioned before, there's political turmoil going on in Sicily about this time. And our main character, Salvatore Giuliano, he takes the part of a Robin Hood type figure, steals from the rich, gives to the poor. Now, he's accidentally been stealing from one of the main characters in here, Don Croce. He's been stealing unbeknownst to him from this character, and then he gets some allies in some ways, loses some in others, and he gets the love of the peasantry, the people, but he makes some rich people angry, and he makes some political figures angry, and these political figures and the mafia don't like each other, and then they end up not liking Salvatore because of his kind of blasé attitude towards everything. So that's kind of like the backdrop for all this, and again, twists and turns and whatever. Michael Corleone. So that's kind of it as far as the plot goes. It's just kind of setting that up, and then you're gonna see where it goes. There are a couple things that I wasn't in love with this book, and it's not much, but I can see it turning some people off. The fact that it's a spin-off novel is a little bit problematic, or it could be, I guess it could be viewed either way, but I can see this really being a thorn in someone's side while reading this, right? Because I kind of felt a little bit disappointed that Michael Corleone was not a little bit more in here. This should have been its own standalone story, and just Salvatore Giuliano and his adventures, and I think it would have been fine. Now, I wonder if the addition of the Corleones was to sell the book better. It was like, hey, we're going to mention the most popular thing that he did and therefore sell more books. I think that's kind of what happened here, because they do make Michael do something very important, but he's not in there enough that they didn't need to write him in there. Even though I liked seeing the Corleones in here and kind of revisiting that just because I'm in love with that world, right? It was a little bit distracting because it wasn't a lot. And it was just sort of like, oh, hey, here's all the action going on. And then, oh, let's follow Michael around for a little bit and see how they don't trust him and how he doesn't really trust the Sicilians. And he's learning from them, but he kind of, so there's this whole thing going back and forth with that. It did run a little bit long for me. I feel like it could have been shortened just a little bit. They left Michael out. maybe the book would have felt a little bit more cohesive. The story would have moved on a little bit. The pacing would have been better. So that's kind of my opinion. And it could go either way, whether or not you agree that it's too long or that it's not long enough. Some people might want to read even more about this. And then the kind of elephant in the room on this one, and I think at the time this was published, you would have just read this and been like, okay, it takes place in the 40s, and you have to kind of adjust your modern sensibilities to what was going on back then and how stuff would have been just like, oh, it's no big deal or whatever. There's a love interest here and there's a bit of an age gap there, and that's all I'll say on it, but it made me uncomfortable. That's pretty much it, you guys. I think that if you can look past the flaws, there's a lot to like here. So if you just like cool mafia shit, a little bit of historical fiction, I think you'll really like this. Again, the Corleone stuff, I did like it, but it does, I can see it taking away from the book also, so you got to consider that. But I'm probably going to get out of here, and I think we've got some more Godfather books that I'm going to try to burn through before the main Godfather podcast comes out, you guys. So on that note, I'm going to get out of here. Thanks for joining me. Come back and see us again in the next video. Bye.